Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 6 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 6 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find the list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter ratios and rates. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down solve the proportion. Solve the proportion d divided by 6 equals 5 by 2. So we need to solve this proportion. So we need to solve for d. So how do we solve? We need to do cross multiplication. Here we have 6. We need to remove that 6. So we need to d is dividing here. Sorry, 6 is dividing here. So we need to do cross multiplication, right? 5 times 6 is 30. So 5 times 6 is 30 and 30 divided by 2 is 15. D equals 15. Let's just start with the test questions. Solve the proportion x divided by 8 equals 2 divided by 1. So we need to solve this proportion for 8. So we have to do the cross multiplication, right? We need to multiply 8 other side. So that is x over 8 equals 2 over 1. So x is equal to 8 times 2 over 1. So 8 times 2 is that equals 16. Option number 3 is the correct option. Solve for p. 5 divided by 1 equals p divided by 6. We need to solve this proportion for p. So that is p equals 5 times 6, right? So 5 times 6 is 30. Option number 2 is the correct option. So that equals 30. Option number 3 is the correct option. Solve for r. We need to do cross multiply. We need to multiply 6 other sides because we need to solve it for the r. So 6 times 6 is 6 times 6 is 36. So we need to do 36 over 2. So 36 over 2 equals 18 it is. So r equals 18. The correct option is 18. Option number 3 is the correct option. Solve the proportion 9 over 1 equals u divided by 8. We need to solve it for the u. So we need to do cross multiplication, right? So we need to do 9 times 8 over 1, right? So 9 times 8 is 72. So u equals, so u equals 70, sorry, 72. 9 times 8 is 72. That is 72. Solve the proportion. We need to solve this proportion for r. We need to calculate the value of r. So we need to cross multiply. That is r over 3 equals 9 over 1. R is equal to 9 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27. Option number 3 is the correct option. That is 27. So just solve it for the y. We need to cross multiply 6 other sides. 7 times 6 over 1. So 7 times 6 is 42. The correct option is option number 3. That is 42. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. Okay, the next one is write an equivalent ratio. So let's just start with the next lesson. Find the number that makes a ratio equivalent to 4 ratio 1, right? So here we have 4 ratio 1. We need to find the missing number of this. Um, ratio, right? So, how do we find? We need to see 4 times what number is 8, right? 4 times 2 is 8. Same way, you have to multiply 1 times 2. So, that is 1 times 2 is 2 because the ratios are equivalent. So, if 4 ratio 1, then 8 ratio 2. Got it? So, the missing one is 2. The correct option is 2. Let's just start with the test questions. Find the number that makes the ratio equivalent to 1 ratio 4. So we have 1 ratio 4 and 4 ratio the missing one. So 1 times what number is 4? 1 times 4 is 4. You have to do 4 times 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. That is 4 ratio 16. Option number 3 is the correct option. 4 ratio 16 it is. Find the number that makes the ratio equivalent to 1 ratio 2 and 3 ratio the missing number. So which is the missing number? 'So we need to form the equivalent ratios. So we have 1 ratio 2, right? So 1 times 3 is 3 and then 2 times 3 is 6 it is. That is 3 ratio 6. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 3 ratio 6. Option number 2 is the correct option. Find the number that makes the ratio equivalent to 4 ratio 1. So we have 4 ratio 1. So we can write it as 4 times what number is 8? 4 times 2 is 8. So 1 times 2 is 2. Got it? So the missing number is 8 ratio 2. Option number 3 is the correct option. What find the number that makes the ratio equivalent to 6 ratio 1 ratio 6 and 9 ratio the missing number. So which number is missing? No one is answering why. 1 times 9 is 9 and 6 times 9 is 54, right? So option number 2 is the correct option. That is 9 ratio 54. Find the number that makes the ratio equivalent to 1 ratio 8. So we need to find 9 ratio missing number. So 1 times 9 is 9. 8 times 9 is 72. So option number 2 is the correct option. That is 9 ratio 72. Find the number that makes the ratio equivalent to 1 ratio 8. So 5 ratio, which is the missing number. 5 ratio 40 it is. The correct option is 5 ratio 40. Option number 2 is the correct option. Find the number that makes the ratio equivalent to 2 ratio 4. So 8 ratio, the missing number is 2 times 4 is 8. So 4 times 4 is 16. So the missing one is 16. 8 ratio 16 it is. Find the ratio. Find the number that makes the ratio equivalent to 1 ratio 5. So 4 ratio the missing number is 1 times 4 is 4 and 5 times 4 is 20. So the missing one is 4 ratio 20. Find the missing number that makes the ratio equivalent to 1 ratio 7. That is 1 times 8 is 8 and 7 times 8 is 56. Option number 2 is the 3 is the correct option. Find the missing number that makes the ratio equivalent to 1 ratio 5. So we have 1 ratio 5. So 3 ratio the missing 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So the missing one is 15. That is 15. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 3 ratio 15. Find the number that makes the ratio equivalent to 1 ratio 2. So 1 times 6 is 6. Then 2 times 6 is 12. So option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is unit rates and equivalent ratios. Okay, this lesson has been moved to grade 7. Okay, we are done with this chapter. The chapter has only two lessons. They are solve the proportion and write an equivalent ratio. Next lesson, that is next chapter actually. That is money. Let's just start with the next lesson. Multiply money by whole numbers and decimals. Let's just start with the lesson, that is 63 times 0.3. Let's just multiply them without decimal. We need to do 63 times 3, right? So 63 times 3 is 3 times 3 is 9 and 3 times 6 is 18. So we have only one decimal place in 0.3. We need to move decimal point one place left. So that is 18.9. Let's just start with the test questions. 796 times 0.4. So we have only one decimal place, right? Let's just multiply 796 by 4. 4 times 6 is 24, right? 4 carry 2. 4 times 9 is 36, 38, 39. 4 times 9 is 36 and 2 38, right? 8 carry 3. 4 times 7 is 28, 29, 30, 31. So we have only one decimal place. So just move decimal point one place left. So start from here, then that is 318.4. Option number 2 is the correct option. Got it? That is 318.4. Option number 2 is the correct option. Basically, that is exactly the same like we multiply the whole numbers, right? Then we can add the decimal place. So 939.0.9. So let's just add decimal point, then we can add the decimal places, right? 9 times 9 is 81. Write 1 over here and carry 8. 9 times 3 is 27. 28, 29, 30 and 5. 35, right? 5 and carry 3. 9 times 9 is 81 and 3 makes 84 it is. So we need to move one decimal place left. So move it here, that is 845.10. Got the correct option is 845.10. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 845.10. Okay, the next one is 1.22 times 0.8. Multiply, if necessary, round to the nearest um, round the answer to the nearest cent. So we need to round them to the nearest cent, right? 1.22 times 0.8. Here we have two decimal places, here we have one. Answer must have three decimal places, right? 8 times 2 is 16, 1 carry 8 times 2 is 16 and 17. 1 carry 8 times 1 is 8 and 9, right? So we need to add three decimal places. Start from here and move here, that is 0.98. Sorry, 0.98 just. That is 0.98. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, let's just multiply without decimal point. 63 times 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 6 is 18. So we need to put a decimal point. That must be one place left. So that is $18.90. Option number 2 is the correct option. Got it? That is 18.90. 110 times 0.2. So which is the correct option? That is $22. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is $22. 0.14 times 3. Okay, so 0.14 times 3. 3 times 4 is 12, 2 carry 1. 3 times 1 is 3 and 1. 4, 0.42 it is, right? That is 0 point. We need to add 3 decimal places, right? 42. 1, 2, 3. We need to move decimal point from here to here. So it would be rounded off to 0.04. Very good. Option number 2 is the correct option. Very good. 37 times 0.6. Just multiply without the decimal. 6 times 7 is 42. Write 2 and carry 4. 6 times 3 is 18. We need to add one decimal place, so that is 22.20. Option number 3 is the correct option. That is 22.20. Okay, 0.1 times 245. So which is the correct option? That is 24.50. Very good. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, 827 points times 0.7. Let's just multiply without the decimal point. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 2 is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 7 times 8 is 56 and 1 15 9. So we need to add only one decimal place, so that is 500. 578.90. Option number 1 is the correct option, that is 578.90. Okay, 0 0.9 times 5.2. So both of the numbers have 1 and 1, two decimal places. Answer must have two decimal places. 9 times 2 is 18, carry 1. 9 times 5 is 45 and 1 46. So we need to add the decimal point, just move it from here to here. So that is 4.8. That is 4.68. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 6 math. We have started with the chapter ratios and proportions. Now we are working on the chapter money. The chapter is multiply money by whole numbers and decimals. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons. We just the live chat button. Tutor will there to help you, or either you can write them down in the chat box. I'm here to answer all. No questions? Any questions? No questions? Okay, then that's all for today. See you in the